Suivez la Rtd Anywhere. Here are the top stories. بالبلا welfare time out the solidarity. An international USA failed to repeal the Obamacare for Donald Trump. That was the headline, and now welcome to the national news. 3 fires of yesterday was which have done any day more than 150 homes destroyed by the fire challenge. The tomorrow of entitled must allow us to question our behavior and our responsibility from the fact that in the 3 fires each is a part to a single household, as well as a fire in 3 homes has led to this disaster that caused the loss of more than 150 houses. The objective of this observation is not to incriminate anybody but to highlight how we are responsible for the safety of others, is to say our immediate neighbors. It is only by ensuring the responsibility first of your own home, and only on this condition that they can ensure their community in the position of case they present of eventual danger. This is the first question of responsibility of each us who calls us in particular to be vigilant and providing for avoiding any neglect or imprudence in leaving a cooking fire or another without monitoring, or to the sole responsibility of minor children. Therefore, communities should tackle this problem by organizing awareness section of proximity, the imam and the media also. The only work remains to raise awareness, educate to the second point of the action in the poor community, and other young people in the neighborhoods will be able to change the behavior before a case of fire. When a fire is reported, it is in the population who rush, which makes the river even more difficult. The poor community must work on the organization of the river. This same neighborhood community and the public authorities must come to grips with this new phenomenon of stone throwing against the firemen. The throwing of stone in such a circumstance are not in any way comparable to the clash between demonstrators and police. It is a symbol of crime. The act criminalizes the offense of no assistance to a person in danger, while it does not to suppress obstruction to relief and assistance to the population in danger. The public authorities must assert the authority and to bring the perpetrators of this act to justice. Now the time is to the solidarity. The evacuation should not only be a matter concerning the rulers. The President of the Republic has given the tone yesterday by doing relief the first priority of civil society to flow. Now all Djiboutians must demonstrate once again our separate solidarity, which is also a fundamental point of our regional perspective. We have also been many to support and also the President of the Republic to ask him to return to the controls of the country in April 2016. Now we demonstrate our support to this test. Calling for of health reform supported by Donald Trump, calling for of health reform supported by scaling flowing the fire which has refuged the 3 neighborhoods of the commune of Balbala, namely Nirpol in 4 meter Kuwaiti, the Borwako and Balbala. Serious consultation meeting chaired by the President of the commune of Balbala, Mr. Waberi Noor. This meeting, which has seen the participation of the deputy prefect of Balbala, local elected representative of the Council of Nepal, as well as the chief of Nepal, and they made the tours urgent the situation of after this fire first that has destroyed approximately 150 housing to the meaning of awareness discussion work on the ground in a manner consistent and regular phases. The question of the mobilization of all was also raised in their respective intervention. The different heads of Nepal and the Oculus have insisted on the security plan and for case may he say about the potential discord and fragment in order. In it is approximately at 2 p.m. that other house take fire this time. No human loss, but 6 houses were completely destroyed, while firefighters attempted the effects quarantine this fire at the 3 sectors escaped by daylight. In the area Pelpela 7, the balance sheet is also important. A territory of whom are proceeding into ashes. The intervention of the firefighters on the 3 sites simultaneously faction has been a difficulty, but the fire has finished not to be limited in any way. 3 homes of fire, more than 150 houses devastated in the balance sheet is by the invasion of Pelpela. A dark day under sky this year, and the same time a plague, so the family which may be released was above Pelpela. The first fire is declared on the area, and now as 4 meters the wine of a campsite and the wooden house have facilitated the spread of fire. The balance sheet is more of 120 houses are partly in small. The narrowness of the street and the well construction scene are for the something. The 3 major fires that have ravaged more than 100 of the houses in the neighborhood of Pelpela has left hundreds of inhabitants without a proof. Disasters are quickly detected in the schools of Pelpela. Disasters that have lost in fires and decreased, and however remain silent in the fires, which has a current risk at the time in the time of summer. The aid and the first help is organized by the Committee authorities. The first aid came mainly from situation of generous individuals who are really sad to see the following in the living condition of the day of the after. The Secretary of State for Social Affairs, Mr. Muna, and the Mayor Fatima Asman, who coordinated the assistant to claim of 3 fires of Pelpela, have supervised the delivery of the one reliever yesterday. Facilitating the President of the Committee of Pelpela, Mr. Waperi Noor Alaye, explained this fire of such as Manakti is the first in the history of Djibouti, never seen. For this reason that all agents of factories have some more than he was more. The aid to the disaster which are hosted in the school establishment of Pelpela will be, of course, overseen and secured by the National Gendarmerie and the policy. A training workshop on the development project in the team program evaluation of clinical surveillance and electronic pregnancy advice to the peers in maternity hospital Djibouti has been organized this morning in the meeting room of the Hospital of Dar Hanan. This training workshop was presented by the Director of the Project Management Unit, Mr. Aden Hussein Elmi, the Director of the Maternity of Dar Hanan, Mrs. Zahra Musa. This training workshop made significant to a financing of the Islamic Development Bank initiated by the Minister of Health in close collaboration with the brother and friend Moroccan. The aim is to train the general practitioners of the health centers as well as the wise women maternity hospitals on the clinical surveillance and electronic women at risk the time of period in maternity hospital in Djibouti, in the framework of the support for the maternal and neonatal health and infant mortality. This project focuses on 3 common, namely the training of caregivers, the acquisition of medical equipment, and finally the following and the evaluation of this project. Furthermore, this training is provided by American professors Mr. Alami Muhammad Hassan of the Center Representative of Rabat belonging to the University Hospital Center of Rabat and the gynecologist of the Motherhood of Dar Hanan, Dr. Osman Ali Ahmed, during 2 weeks. And finally, this training integrated in the framework of the strengthening the skills of the doctors and the paramedical operating in the maternity unit in the country. In the framework of the qualification of the Women World Cup in 2018 in France, the players selected of the national team of Djibouti are released in Burundi to face the national team of Burundi. Yesterday, the players have in performance the last result in the stadium Anglais before Seoul to Bujumbura, capital of the Burundi, for the qualification of the World Cup Women in France. The Blue Sharks in Djibouti have initiated a series of tactical preparation physical and to have a satisfactory outcome for the next match scheduled for September in Le Mans, the capital Togo. During an intervention, the coach of the national team has confirmed their desire to beat the Burundi to exist the head qualification the World Cup. And now let's move on to the international news, where about 15 Palestinians have been wounded in a overnight clash with the Israeli police at Jerusalem, with the 15 hid by the rumble vs. Explanation with Hidayah Mohammed.
Clashes sparked between security forces and Palestinians sat near the Lion's Gate at the old city of Jerusalem. The clashes started after the evening prayer. It is still unclear what sparked the violence. According to Palestinian sources, 50 have been reported injured among the hundreds of rioters. One of those reported injured is Sheikh Akram, former Mufti of Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa preacher. A police spokesman said that 2 policemen were lightly injured during the clashes. He said the rioters threw Molotov cocktails and rocks at the police forces located next to the Lion's Gate. He added that the rioters were dispersed from the area. Palestinians are protesting against the newly installed metal detector at some gates of the Temple Mount compound. As an act of protest, they are praying next to the gates. The metal detectors were installed on Sunday following Friday's terrorist attack near on the Temple Mount, in which 2 border policemen were killed and after weapons were found in subsequent searches on the mount. After the scanners were put in place, the Waqf Religious Trust and other Islamic authorities call on Muslims to refrain from entering the compound due to what they deemed severe violation of status quo. They called instead for prayers to be conducted near the compound.
President Donald Trump famous as U.S. health care reform political plays against the senators in his party who dashed his month-long effort to dismantle his president's landmark health care law, Obamacare. More details in this video with Mohammed Eden.
U.S. President Donald Trump blasted congressional Democratic and a few Republican Thursday over the collapse of his party effort to write the Obama health care law and warned we will return. Trump's early morning tweet led off a barrage of Republican criticism of Congress over the party failures on its flagship legislative priority. For 7 years, Republicans have pledged to repeal former President Barack Obama's law. He added, "I have always said, let Obamacare fail and then come together and do a good health care plan. Stay tuned." 2 Senators, Utah's Mike Lee and Jerry Moran of Kansas, sealed the measure's doom late Monday when they announced they would vote no in an initial critical vote that had been expected as soon as next week. That meant that at least 4 of the 52 Republican senators were ready to block the measure. 2 more than majority leaders Mitch McConnell of Kentucky had to spare in the face of unanimous Democratic opposition. On the Senate floor Tuesday, McConnell conceded that the legislature repealed the 2010 law and replacing it with the Republican preferred program will not be successful, essential waving a white flag. He said instead the Senate would vote on legislative dismantling much of Obama's statute that would take effect in 2 years, which Republicans say would give Congress time to approve replacement legislation. But such legislation seems unlikely to be approved, with many Republicans concerned the 2-year gap would ruin the insurance market and produce a political backlash.
And now to close this Edition with the controversial appeal to toughen France's security laws cleared a key handling on Tuesday when the Conservative dominated the Senate approved it, with Mohamed Aden has more to tell us.
French Senate passes new anti-terror bill. Lawmakers in France's conservative-dominated Senate have approved controversial legislation to further strengthen France's anti-terror law by a majority vote. The French senator passes the draft bill by a vote of 229 to 106 on Tuesday. The document would now proceed to the lower house of the National Assembly for a vote in October. The new security laws, which were a campaign pledge of the country's new president Emmanuel Macron, would replace a state of emergency imposed after November 2015 terrorist attack in Paris that killed 130 people. Under the state of emergency measures, authorities have the power to place suspects under house arrest, order house searches, and ban public gatherings without the prior approval of a judge. The emergency state has been extended 6 times, most recently under Macron's on July 6. Under the proposed legislation, some of emergency state practices would become permanent law. The move has been slammed by rights groups such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, which have described it as draconian. French Interior Minister Gérard Collomb, however, has defended the new bill, referring to its essential for combating what he described it as the ever-present terror threat. We want to come out from the state of emergency, but we can't do so without counter-terrorist control in place, he has said.
That's it for tonight, and thanks for joining us for this edition, and have a wonderful evening.